Wasteland. Yes, welcome back, brothers. And here we are, Gaslands UK's Car of the Year competition for 2021. I am joined today by the world-renowned maestro of videos, Matt Reeve. Welcome, Matt. Indeed, winner of the Truckosaurus from 2020. What month was that? Was it? I'm trying to remember if it was April or May. Which one was it?
May.
It was
May
May.
2020. I've never entered before. It was the first time I'd entered Car of the Month.
Indeed.
And I wiped that floor with everyone, particularly Colin, which he's still quite bitter about, because he made a Truckosaurus that month as well out of a Mr. Potato Head.
And of course, our right-hand man, new addition to the admin team, which I have been exiled from for some unknown reason. Of course, Ben.
Exiled. He takes himself out of it. He accuses us of being
step down for
banished for
and then
no
we
reason.
make him a group expert.
Yourself, Ben, you are of high renown. Your skills and scratch building is, of course, well known around the group at this point. So how have you been finding your new privileges and responsibilities?
Well, luckily Matt does everything. So we don't have to do anything.
So what are we talking about today, boys and girls? That's right, we are talking about the 12 finished entrants from 2021. Well, let's start off with January 2021's entry. The competition theme was ice cream. Oh no, it wasn't. It was food trucks, wasn't it?
Food trucks.
Food trucks. And of course, the winner was Matt Reeve with Chiller Killer. So as the creator yourself, Matt, tell us a bit about this. What was it that you wanted to make? What was it you wanted to do with this build?
Oh, I wanted to do something different. I wanted to do something that nobody had done before, and that was add sound to it, because in the rules, in the Gaslands rules, ice cream trucks obviously have that annoying jingle rule. So I thought, well, you know, let's how can we represent that in the game? So I did a bit of Googling and I discovered a sound module. I'm going to give all the secrets away here because nobody's ever discussed this with me, but and it goes in a greetings card. So it's a speaker, it's a little tiny circuit board and some batteries, 2 buttons that come out on wires. And so then I had to fit that somehow into the vehicle. And then you got 2 buttons that's re-recordable. So I think the idea is you go, oh, happy birthday, Grandma, you know, and then you can put it in a birthday card. She can press the button and she can hear sort of an electronic version of you wishing her happy birthday.
I think that's the thing. It's a trend that we see with a lot of your builds where there is a sense of wonder with it and experimentation and trying out new things. I mean, the Truckosaurus from last year that was just pipped at the post to get Car of the Year. The more you look at it, the more you see, the more you realize there's more going on. The second winner, we had, of course, Fred Wyver with his entry in February 2021, which was all about Rusty's bootleggers and creating a build that looks not just at the car, but the concept of having that trailer and the booze and fuel and the moonshining all going on. So what about yourselves? How did you feel about Fred Wyver's, flaming hot red entry?
I really like the contrast in colors. The red and the black looks good. And he's got some good chipping on the front of it there. But what I was more impressed about was the way that he elongated the front there to be able to fit 2 axles in. I mean, even looking at it now, I don't know where the seam, I don't remember where the seam is. I remember looking at work in progress pictures of this car, but I don't remember where he put that in.
Yeah.
And I mean, seeing later builds of Fred's, like, he's really good at splicing things together. And I don't know if he uses Bondo or some other like modeling compound, but he definitely gets a butter smooth transition from one piece to the next.
Yeah, we saw that in the mono wheel month, didn't we? So yeah. That vehicle.
Body color.
We're starting to see a lot of people now changing the bodywork on these toy cars, and it's when you take a step back and realize the scale that they're working at, and it's so small and it's such fine work, and they're able to mirror it perfectly on each sides. And then, of course, when it's painted up and graphicked and finished, it is seamless. You can't recognize the new additions from what was already there. And then, of course, we had March, which was off-road vehicles, ATVs, sand buggies, and so
That
on.
was off-road. The thing about that theme was like, that's what almost every Gaslands build is by default.
You know, it had to be something that was more rough and ready and could just plow through sand dunes and debris and climb over mountains and you name it. And Frank's entries have always been these enormous things. I don't think I've ever seen Frank, other than August back in 2020. I don't think I've ever actually seen him make a small vehicle. They were always these enormous, smoke belching monsters of the wasteland.
Frank makes some absolute beasts, doesn't he? He makes some huge monsters. I mean, one that comes to mind for me again is the one later on in the year in August. His mono wheel was a cracking build as well. They're chunky, they're dangerous looking. They really are dangerous, and they look like they're going to steamroller over you. A lot of his builds. So,
I mean, if I can be brutally honest with it, I don't like the yellow and blue. It's just too much for me. I would have gone for more traditional fire engine colors.
I disagree with James about the colors, though. I kind of like the colors. I'm glad that the yellow is subdued by weathering. It could have been a bit more garish if there was like bright yellow and blue, but I think it works.
But yeah, it's a beast. It is a absolute monster, isn't it? It's huge. Those tires, the tires are massive, isn't it? It's part monster truck. The front half is like a monster truck buggy, and the back half is a tank.
Right.
Let's have a look at April's winner. So April was Nick Woodruff with his absolutely outrageous Fallout themed war rig.
Yeah, April was an interesting month. That was computer games and cartoon inspired.
Right.
Yeah. You still need that wasteland aesthetic, and Fallout does lend itself very well to that. So I do quite like it myself. I can see where all the different kind of beats are coming from, with like the atomic generator on the back there and the giant bobblehead.
The tractor at the front fits the Fallout aesthetic, doesn't it? It's got those 1950s curves to it. It looks like the ones you can see in Fallout 4 that are abandoned and crashed everywhere. I did like it. I did like it, and I did think it was a deserved winner. And there was a bit of controversy because I came second, and I think there's a lot of people saying, "Oh, yours should have won that." But I don't. I think Nick won that fair and square that month. I'm just not sure about the head. It doesn't. It is what makes it clearly for. If you didn't have the head.
Oh wait, hang about. We've got to interrupt. We've got Colin Havard. Oh my goodness, he's joining us now.
In Colin. The digital flesh, he's here.
Come in, Colin.
Colin, can you hear us?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
There he is. Yeah. The dead speak. My goodness.
In his new kitchen.
Yeah, in the kitchen.
The beautifully redone kitchen.
It was a deserved winner, but had you taken that Vault Boy bobblehead off it, you wouldn't have got the reference, would you?
Well, he does have the Nuka-Cola advert on the side and the back. The head for me, so I really like this build overall. But the head I still don't really understand what the head was supposed to be in Gaslands. But the color scheme and the weathering I thought was really good. The head I don't really understand the head. I think that's just me. I haven't played Fallout, so maybe there's something there that I don't understand.
Well, I can tell you both right now, you're both wrong. The head is the best part of the build. And Ben, you need to play Fallout because you're doing yourself a disservice not playing those masterpieces of games. I think it's an interesting entry because
it's going the whole hog, isn't it? It's doing it in layers. It's layers and layers and layers. So I mean, he's got the decals. He's got the Nuka-Cola side. On the other side, I'm looking at it now. He's got Robco, which is the company that makes the robots in game. But they're much more sort of obscure references.
We're of course looking at May 2021's winner, Matt Reeves, with Monty Python's Driving Circus. Come on, Colin. What do you think of? Let's all poo on Matt now with his entry. So the terrible video that I had to put together. Come on, let's talk about it. I mean, he 3D printed ass trumpeters. So come on.
I designed those myself. I'll have you know that was not nicking anything off the universe. I did those 3D trumpeters, those bum trumpeters.
Surprised they don't exist somewhere.
Where's he gone? He's off. Bye.
Hours spent studying the arse in order to put the trumpet in at the right angle.
Let's do this, right.
But who's that? Who's ass? That's the question.
Cardboard and coffee sticks.
Yeah, but your hand grenade's out of scale.
What about yourself, Ben? What do you think of Matt Reeve's entry from May of last year?
It was everything Monty Python. I think obviously that's the idea, but I mean, as like feasibility as a build for Gaslands, throw it out the window. It was perfect.
The theme was a carnival float. That was the idea. It was like a carnival float, which is why how
He's defending himself.
Typing the references in, and clearly most of the group have only ever seen the Holy Grail. That is their only Python reference that they know. So,
especially speaking as an American member of this group, that's definitely the case for Americans. I think that like between Life of Brian and Monty Python, the Holy Grail, I think that they don't know anything else other than this. Obviously, everyone's going to say, no, we know them all. But I think run-of-the-mill American is only going to know The Quest for the Holy Grail and The Life of Brian. And The Meaning of Life, probably
they
as well.
should know things like the parrot sketch. You know, that is the cliche Monty Python sketch is the dead parrot sketch. There's a dead parrot in nobody noticed.
This is the thing. It's not one person did a jumping person eating Morris Minor, and that's in a handful of the Monty Python sketches, because it's just like a little thing they animated and chucked in there from time to time. But that immediately came to mind, but no one touched it. So go on. I suppose we should drag ourselves into June's winner. Who was it? Oh, of course, it was Ricky Williams. Always the bridesmaid, never the bride, as Matt once said.
Yeah, this was backup crews, wasn't it? This was support crews.
So
this wasn't explicitly a diorama.
No, but
I was a bit confused about that,
because his entry is a car with the two back tires taken off, isn't it? He's not in a race-worthy state at that point, and the driver's not even gotten in yet. He's been held at gunpoint. I mean, when you think of his entry, be honest with yourself. Is it you think of the little red car with the back wheels taken off and the two workmen there drilling and trying to fix it, or do you think of the prisoner that's being shepherded towards potentially his death behind the wheel? And that's the thing.
Absolutely. There's a story. That one, I think, was the clear winner because it told the story. There were so many little details going on. It wasn't about the car. It was about the support crew and what is going on there. So that interaction between those hideous security guards with his smiley face on, that was a really nice touch. And these guys in their orange jumpsuits are all chained up. Who one or two, I think, have been shot, haven't they, by the sniper on the roof? And the last guy's about manhandled into the car. And I think, like I said in my video, it was like a scene from a high-class TV show like Breaking Bad or something like that. You could really see the action there. You could really, what is going to happen. That's what you want to find out. What's going to happen. Is he going to get killed? Is there going to be a punch-up? Is he going to get pushed into that car? Yeah, it told a story. It had a real atmosphere to it, and it was executed perfectly with the right amount of grime and detail and little bits and bobs about the place.
But Matt, it is car of the month after all.
It's not dinosaur of the month. It's not diorama of the month.
The issue is that with that actual theme, you would need more than just a car to explain the situation. So in terms of Ricky, he's given you a whole scene along with the car.
So into July, which was Stephen Griffith, or is it Stephen Griffith, or I don't know, what does he prefer, do you think? Stephen?
I've only ever heard...
He wants us to drop the Gryffindor from the end of his name, doesn't he?
Oh, God, was that what the...
it all makes sense.
He's just Orr, I think. He doesn't want a Gryffindor.
He's just Orr. So Stephen Orr's
what?
entry for July 2021, which was the B-17 bomber themed one, wasn't it? Or B, whatever it is. With what Stephen's done, it's big concept, big, I want this thing to look like a flying bomb. I want to have this great big explosion in the background of cars flying everywhere. Really big creative concept. But then the execution is, he's done it, but bless, it's a bit rough around the corners. There's a little bit of tape coming off. Like, he
I did
still.
say that in the review. It reminds me, do you know those Nerf American football with tails on the end?
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, I look at that and I
That
think
great diorama, it had that really nice mushroom cloud, didn't it, in the background? I think
Yeah.
that is what made it a whole. I think the vehicle on its own was good,
Right.
but it was having that with that diorama. I think again, it's not judged on the diorama; it's all about the vehicle. But in the judges' eyes that month, I think that's what elevated it above everyone else's.
But Matt, I thought you just said it was about the story and the extra
That was
bits.
in a theme. That was a theme specifically geared towards that. This was because the sponsor had an idea for a build he wanted to make, and he basically wanted to canvas ideas from the group and see what the group came up with.
Oh no.
How much wiggle room is there? How far can you push these things? And I think what Steve's done here pushes it, that month's theme, as far as it can really go without it becoming make a bomb on wheels or make a drivable missile.
There's a certain amount of irony in building an American vehicle that's a flying giant bomb, so it would essentially be a kamikaze vehicle. You see where I'm going with this? Well, that was a vehicle, presumably, that was used against the Japanese forces in the Second World War. And he's built a giant flying bomb, which was a kamikaze tactic by the Japanese forces. It's like the American kamikaze bomber, is what I'm trying to say.
Ironic.
But part of his concept was it was on off Route 54, which is where the nuclear tests happened.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Moving on. So August 2021. My boy, Maciej Metrak. Oh yes.
Man. Oh, here we go.
The monowheel build. What can I say? I can see talent before it blossoms into the beautiful flower of the wasteland. What can I say? Go on. What are your thoughts?
Colin, I'm actually curious to hear Colin, because this was your sponsor month.
Yes.
Right? And you decided to take the piss out of everyone and have us build one-wheeled cars.
Someone used magnets on.
That was my idea. Sorry, I picked the theme.
What did you envision? What did you envision people were going to make? And then what did you think when you saw some of the entries?
See, what I envisioned initially when Matt suggested it is based off when I built my Truckosaurus on one wheel. So he thought that he'd be evil and do that. And I thought, go on, and we'll go with this because James is involved. And it's like, no, go on. We haven't seen James build a mono wheel. Let's go for it. So I was imagining lots and lots of things like bikes inside cutter wheels, suspending things off the side, that usual normal array. And then Metrak comes with this, and from the base, like you, when I saw the base, it's like, how's he done this? This looks like it should be on Mars, and that's just in the base. And he's put a backstory behind it. He's using strange songs and things like that. And you're going, where's he going? Where's he going? And then he drops the colors and the actual model, and you go, wow, this is impressive. And when it came to the judging, we actually voted on it between the admins, and it was a clear winner. There were a few in the running, but this was just like, yeah, this. You can't even argue. This is miles above everyone else. Then you add to that he done it all while he was on holiday elsewhere, so he didn't have all his normal equipment there.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, that was a bit that surprised everyone, that he's churned this out while he wasn't actually at home.
So he's beat everyone with an arm tied behind his back.
Yeah.
On to September and Daryl Buckmaster's entry into it was the month that Camsil, he wanted alternative means of transport. Wasn't it?
Is that I wasn't familiar with the dinosaur. Is that a dinosaur, or is that like a character from something?
I believe it's a 3D print from somewhere. He explained it was a 3D print, I believe.
Oh
yeah.
Now, in terms of this build, it was the painting mainly, I think, that actually won it for him, because the finish on it is really, really good.
We're talking without the base, right? Because that's some aquarium gravel.
That's what made me. That's my first thought. That fish tank. that base.
The focusing on the vehicle, focusing on the giant monster. I mean, he has. I mean, this skulls are so tricky, and I know there's always that temptation to make a car that is just 100% skull and nothing else. But I think it's a real fine. The good parts of it is you can still see the mechanisms and the actual vehicles underneath, and there are multiple vehicles that he's welded and bolted and riveted together to make this monster.
Just one thing that I wish he had done is added some kind of variation or weathering to the chains, and also
Yeah.
some kind of better color variation in the dinosaur itself. I think the chain is just bright silver, like straight out of the package silver.
Yeah, that needed weathering.
Yeah, but other than that, yeah, like the bright colors and all that work really well on the vehicle itself.
Minor bugbear about that is the use of Games Workshop iconography, because it always stands out a mile, and it takes me out of the Gaslands world and thrusts me into a different universe. So seeing that icon of corn, I believe it is,
The full
hanging
box of skulls.
Yeah.
and the Games Workshop box, it did scream Games Workshop to me, not Gaslands. I like it, don't get me wrong, but yeah, it belongs in the Games Workshop land, world, universe.
So October we had Mikhail Togner and his just absolutely alien.
This was his David Cronenberg inspired build, wasn't it? It was sort of body horror.
Yeah, and he submitted this like a week and a half in or something, like super early, and I was working on something, but when I saw this, I immediately said, this is gonna win. Like, I told my wife, I think the winner is already done. Like, it was just a week or so in and the winner was already done.
Ultimately, that's one of the challenges with the competition, is after a point you do notice that people will hold their entries until the last day or the last hour, because they don't want to psych other people out, or they want to like build lots of suspense and, oh my god, that looks so great, and whoa, look at all these cool cars. But the amount of times you'll post something and goes, oh well, they're gonna win, so I'm not gonna bother now.
Right, yeah, I mean, ultimately this car boils down to a technique. The idea of having the cars coming apart with bloody effects inside, I mean, it's extremely well executed. I mean, some of the breaks I would have made a little less uniform, so
Yeah.
it kind of looks like teeth. I don't know if that was intentionally supposed to be.
That's intention. It's a ragged edge where it's split apart, I think.
Right, I just would have made it more random, I guess.
More
But
monstrous.
overall, it's really good. I mean, like I said, when I saw that car, I said, this is first place.
Moving on to November then, where we had a Rise Lightspears entry into the Buggies month.
Here come the Indonesians.
Yes.
But their build quality coming out of that area of the world is absolutely phenomenal. You look at it and you go, wow, you really do.
There's something impressive about a lot of his builds that I've seen him do. They're using metal part. They're fabricating with metal, which is something that we don't really see a lot of. A lot of people use plastic card, or they use the card stock and styrene rods and things, but aluminum and copper.
We did post some work in progress shots, and it was like things cut out of tin cans and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's really amazing.
Crash batches, loads of bits out of pens. There's bits out of lighters,
Yeah.
cigarette lighters in there. Those Indonesian guys are very good at repurposing stuff like that. I guess because they just don't have the hobby stores and things, and there's a lot of stuff they can get their hands on and recycle. But the thing that I'm most impressed with this guy is they look out of scale. They look a lot bigger.
Right.
They are 164 to 172 scale.
Yeah.
But the level of detail he manages to pack in there, it makes me think, oh no, that's a much bigger vehicle. He's cheating, but he's not. He's clearly not. He's just very good. They're very good at doing the tiny little details.
This car definitely looks like it's about that big.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
it looks
Which
like it's
makes
124. You look at the figure and you think that's clearly not a 164 scale figure, but it is, and it's so surprising. And it's just the little bits that they can fabricate. Like if you look on the back, that little can, the little red can, and you go, where's he got that from? Has that been made himself, or has that been bought from another kit? You just don't understand how these bits are at 164 scale. And then it's just the simple things like the little bit of graffiti that's hidden under the paint on the bonnet, and it's just like, or hood for Ben. You could just go, how has that been done? That's been done clearly beforehand, and then the weathering's been put on top. It's just so subtle because it looks like it's been airbrushed.
All right, then let's move on to the final month then, looking at December 2021's entry. Our second three-time winner, Tony Peacock, and his, what does it say on the side of the truck? United Fairies?
Dairies.
What? United Dairies.
Dairies.
I couldn't read it. United Dairies nuclear winter build.
Yeah, I know a little bit of behind the scenes of this one. He made the decision later on to keep the United Dairies, and I think it was the perfect decision. I think it adds a really good detail to this build that kind of sets it in that like an abandoned truck repurposed as something else.
I do love how Tony has a habit now of finding these really dog-eared, abandoned cars that have got no wheels, no windscreen, have been buried in the garden for 10 years, and he's dug it up, and that's what he's going to start with.
For me, this had the most realistic icy, snowy effects. It's like when you get up in the morning on a cold morning, there's frost all over the car. That's what it looks like. It looks
especially
like
that front fender there, the front quarter panel there in the truck. The guy in the gunner's seat looks super cold as well.
What about you, Colin? Stoic, silent compadre.
Oh, here we go. Here we go. Well, this is a typical example of what happens when someone who can build really well gets their hands on a 3D printer, because it has really upped his game in terms of what he can produce that fast. The AA gun on the front, that's 3D printed. My bugbear with this build is the tracks. It's the tracks on the end, and I mentioned it, and it's just like there's no weathering as such. It's like they've just been 3D printed and stuck on. There's a bit of a wash on there, but that's it. There's no distinguishing between the color of the tracks and the color of the wheels driving the tracks.
You've shown photos of this, and I mean Tony was sharing his work in progress, but he's not painted them, has he? Like that's the filament color, that's the resin or whatever it is. It's that base gray. It's the.
I think if it works, it works. Like you said, I don't have that gripe with it. I think it looks fine. But I do see, now that you say like distinguishing the wheels from the tracks, I think now looking at it, I do see where you're coming from on that.
That leads us then to the final part of this video, where now that we've actually inspected and talked about all of the entries, including Matt's twice, let's look at actually deciding.
Talk about mine enough. Colin is here now. We need to talk about mine some more, especially because Colin chose my ice cream truck.
Colin already told us how he feels about that. That's the voice clip from the video back in January. Presiding over this hearing, it will be you three that will pick the winner. Looking at the 12 finished entrants, well, I believe Colin has the look of someone who already knows what three he would pick. So, Colin, why don't you tell us about the three that you would have?
Okay, in third place, I'd put a Rise Light Spear, just because that's a phenomenal build, built from just bits, greebles, junk, anything you find on the side of the road. It's just, it looks the part, it looks out of scale, even though it's not. It's all the things we've discussed already. It's just a solid build all round. Second place, I would put someone that's in this group at the moment, the hairy one that's looking around right now with the man bun. Fool. Just because it just hit everything Monty Python. That's Matt. It's just, we saw the time and effort that was going into this, and there's 3D printed parts. He was just trying to hit everything, even though he's got an out of scale hand grenade, but it's all good.
So on to yourself, Matt. Now, Matt, because you are voting, that sadly means you cannot vote for yourself. However, there are 10 other fantastic entries from 2021 for you to choose from. So who would be your top three?
I think, well, yeah, I think not dissimilar to Colin's selection. I think I'd put, a Rise Light Spear for all the reasons that we've already discussed. I think I'm going to go with Ricky's in my top three. Not the car as such. There wasn't anything particularly special about the car, but the story, the diorama and the atmosphere. I loved it. I really loved it. And it's sort of, you could look at it and fantasize about what is going to happen in that story, and I think that really elevated it.
But just to clarify, not the car in the car of the year.
Not the car. The diorama of the year.
Theme of the year.
Story of the year.
Which finally means, Ben, what is your top 3?
I should have gone first because now I'm gonna sound like a broken record. But yeah, I think for my third place, I think the Monty Python Brigade. Like I said when we talked about the Monty Python and those builds and the theme, it ticked every box for Monty Python in so many different ways, and it was almost like it wasn't a diorama, but it was almost like a small story everywhere you looked. There was something going on here and there everywhere you looked, but even though they're like contained within those small areas, it all works together. And I would put Arise as my second choice. So
we can confirm that the winner of Gaslands UK Car of the Year for 2021 is...
Previously on Gaslands UK Car of the Month.
I am giving up the mantle of Gaslands UK Car of the Month. You will need to look no further than the Gaslands TV YouTube channel.
Hello and welcome to Gaslands UK's Car of the Month. And I like the flag on the truck. That's all hand painted, and I really like the lights. They just look so real. I love it. Fred Wyvern, Frank Saucian, Nick Woodruff,
Matt Reeves! Hello, Wasteland! Yes, and welcome back, brothers! Two-time winner from last year, that's right, Tony Peacock and the Black Knight. But Matt started off this year smashing January, second place in Gaslands UK's Car of the Year competition, and now first place for May 2021, which makes him the first ever in this competition's history to have 3 wins.
Greetings, Gaslanders, and welcome to the Wasteland. Here we are in June 2021. We've survived this far. And what's the reward? I'll tell you what the reward is. It's the new look Gaslands UK Car of the Month video. Run VT, let's have a look. This month's theme is alternative power sources. So, as per usual, Gaslands UK Facebook has been a veritable hive of activity throughout August. The Car of the Month thread ending on over 1,000 comments, which is frankly quite insane. Driven in part by the allure of internet sensation, egomaniac and all-round jolly nice chap, James Hall of JH Managers.
You dare challenge me? How could you even dream of defeating me?
Another new entrant all the way from the Indonesian island of Java. Danny Mattis has converted his pickup truck into an aero sled. The glitter is a nice festive touch. And of course, fellow admin Colin Havard is presently living in a beach hut on Great Yarmouth seafront with his wife and 12 children, whilst a team of Eastern European builders with hard hats and high-vis jackets dismantle his home and give him a perfect excuse not to finish any of his modelling challenges he's supposed to be taking me on. Please read the rules! They're there for a reason. Please date stamp your photo entries clearly, ideally with a printed or a digital date in the image.
If only there was a way to turn my phone horizontal. Don't tell me you don't have plain white paper. Don't tell me you can't turn your phone horizontal. Come on, guys.
Chris Moses, who's 3D printed T-Rex or an Allosaurus. Michael Mersey, you enter lastminute.com. Michael Mersey has set fire to his car. Jimmy G returns with a speed build.
The little mechanical sword arms that come out. Ah, they're just so daft, aren't they?
either procured from a human child or recently acquired from the loft or attic of a parent.
He's constantly upping his game. He's somebody who started a couple of months ago.
It's got a wire attached to it, which is a shame, couldn't fit a battery pack in there. But look at it, this is just incredible. The machining that's gone on, he's created this mechanism. It's so cleverly done. It's hidden away those magnets you'd never know. Well, you'd have a good guess, but and have a little drum roll, please. In first place is
Matt Reeve.
Fred Wyvern, Frank Saucian, Nick Woodruff,
Matt Reeves,
Ricky Williams, Stephen Griffith, Maciej Mentrak, Daryl Buckmaster, Mikhail Togner, Arise Lightspear, Tony Peacock. Thanks for listening to me, and we will see you next time. Alright, until then, goodbye, Wasteland.
So we can confirm that the winner of Gaslands UK Car of the Year for 2021 is...
And then top, well, we know which way I'm going to go with this. It's Metrak with the mono wheel. That thing is just phenomenal.
And first place, Maciej Mentrak. Yeah, for his Mars rover.
And a bit anticlimactic because I've already said it, but Maciej, I think he's got the best one here. Car of the year in my book.
And there you have it, a unanimous decision by the Gaslands UK team, admin team. I was going to say car of the month team then, but that's not strictly correct. But yes, there you have it. Maciej Mentrak. Yes. Well done, Maciej. Welcome to a absolutely exclusive, more exclusive than the most exclusive of clubs, because you have to not just win car of the month, you have to win car of the year to get into this club. But there you go. I think it's safe to say that it is a justly won victory without a shadow of a doubt. I mean,
this might be my favorite car of the month entry ever in any of the car of the months that I've seen. It's so good. I can't say anything bad about
just
it.
pure quality.
It's a kit. I would buy that as a kit if that was available as a kit.
Yeah. I would pay like $60 at least for this as a kit, like, you know, that size. But it's just, oh man, it's so good. And like, of course, the build itself is good too. But when he first revealed some of his work in progress and stuff like that, and I saw it, I knew it was going to be. First, I knew it was going to be amazing, but I know a lot of people are going to start talking about the car. But the base for this is
the base. That was
beyond amazing. Like getting that color red and getting the gradient that he has there and the texture is just, I was blown away by the base.
The design is perfect. The what he's made it from, it's a trash bash, isn't it? It's a clock. So a Kaya clock. With loads of little gubbins and greeblies he's stuck all over there, made from different bits and bobs. The figures are perfect, the perfect scale. The paint job, the chipping he's done on it, that BB-8 sort of color scheme of the Star Warsy yellows and the orange, and white. It screams sci-fi. It screams well designed. It's like something from 2001: A Space Odyssey. It's got so many different things in there, and I think that is what elevates it.
It's even if you put it up against some of the big painting competitions, I reckon that plays really high, like the Brush Beast and things like that, because it looks the part, the base, everything about it, the fact that he'd done it while he wasn't with all his normal hobby supplies. So as we said, one hand tied behind his back and he smashed it out of the park. It's just phenomenal.
I think this is the nice thing as well, because Mars racing is a thing in the Gaslands universe in the actual
Mars is
story. Mars is a lie. Yeah, well, they got the hover car racing going on, but we almost never see any of anything on Mars. There you go, entering the Hall of Fame. We're going to have to figure out postage to Poland now and all that excitement. But rest assured, the T-shirt is real. They do exist. I know Matt and Colin are sporting all sorts of apparel, but we'll have one
These are
specially.
printed. Hang on, these are printed in Latvia, so it's probably close to get one of these to him than it is to us.
The finest in Latvian printed merchandise for you, Mache, will be making its way. But there you go. So, any final thoughts from the lords of Gaslands, the lords of the wasteland?
I know what I'd like to talk about briefly.
Yes.
You've got this expert button, of which only you have been honoured with being gifted the title of being a group expert. In a sort of New Year's honours kind of scheme, I would like to dish out a few more group expert, not to take away from your title, James, of course, but because I think there's a few other people in the group worthy. Does anybody have any suggestions of who they would like to see given a group expert little name tag next to them in the group?
I was gonna say Fred Wyver. Fred Wyver is
that was
his
what I
name.
was going to mention.
His name has come up a few times already in this conversation that we've been having, but I mean, his builds are amazing too, but he's also very helpful in the group and pretty engaged, and he knows how to handle people's questions if they have any. So I think he's kind of already doing that job.
Yeah, it's not just somebody who's got ability. It needs to be somebody who is actively going out of their way to post tutorials on how to take photos, for instance, in the case of Fred. And yeah, I think he gets my vote as well.
Oh, Colin's
gone.
Just like the start of the video. But yes, so I think it's safe to say Fred Wyver can be gifted the accolades of group expert moving forward.
I need something sharp so I can dub him Sir Fred of Gaslands UK.
Sir Fred of GLUK.
GLUK Cotton. Hang on, I have a
scissors.
You need a hobby knife. Has anyone got a hobby knife?
You don't have one there.
Not to hand.
Either shoulder.
Arise, Sir Fred.
Newly, freshly minted.
Or not, you're getting it.
So, Matt, as the new master of the Gaslands UK YouTube world, can you lead us out with how you end your videos?
Thank you very much for joining us. From me, Matt Reeve, from him, Ben Popp, from him down there, Colin Havard, and from that face over there, I hope I'm pointing in the right direction. Thank you very much. And until next time, goodbye, wasteland. Is that all right?
Yeah, that's good. You love it, really, don't you?
Love it. Love it.